That wasn't supposed to be your cup. Andre's voice cracked as Imani collapsed at Big Mama's old dining table, her body jerking like she was possessed. Detective Mendoza had my phone on speaker, recording every word. Imani's eyes locked on mine, pure venom mixed with fear. You switched them, she gasped. Child, you damn right I did. My hands were steady even though my heart was racing like crazy. The smell of her burnt hair spray mixed with whatever poison was making her convulse on Big Mama's good carpet, the one with the plastic runner we weren't supposed to walk on with shoes. Andre was on his knees beside his sister, his fresh fade and crisp white shirt both soaked with sweat. The detective's voice came through my phone clear as day, asking me to confirm what I was witnessing. I watched Imani's stiletto nails claw at the mahogany table leg, her lace front coming loose as she thrashed. This woman had smiled in my face for 3 years while slowly killing me, and now she was tasting her own medicine. The irony wasn't lost on me. Big Mama's collection of Sunday hats watched from the hallway like silent witnesses to this whole mess. I could hear gospel music playing softly from the kitchen radio. Mary Mary singing about God being on my side. Won't he do it? But to understand how I ended up standing over my poisoned sister-in-law while my husband begged for mercy, we have to go back 18 months to when life still made sense. I was Shanice Bennett, 32 years old, wearing my silk press like a crown and my Louboutins like armor. I'd clawed my way out of Inglewood's projects to build a client portfolio that had the whole marketing scene in Chicago talking. The Robertson account was my masterpiece, a $3 million contract I'd won by actually listening to what the client needed instead of pushing some cookie-cutter campaign. I remember sitting in that boardroom in the Loop, code switching from my natural rhythm to that crisp corporate voice white folks expect, laying out my strategy while the client's eyes lit up. Imani had been sitting 3 chairs down, her face tight with something I mistook for professional disappointment. I should have recognized that look. That wasn't just about losing a client. That was pure hatred wrapped in a Chanel suit. Andre had taken me to dinner that night at Pearl's Soul Food on the South Side, where the greens tasted like somebody's grandmother made them with love and bacon grease. He kissed my forehead and told me how proud he was, how his baby was making moves. His sister joined us 20 minutes later, hugging me tight and saying all the right things about how we were family and family celebrated together. She ordered sweet tea for the table and insisted I try the peach cobbler she'd already called ahead to have them prepare special. I ate every bite. 3 hours later, I was in Southside Community Hospital with my stomach trying to exit through my throat. The doctors called it food poisoning, but something in my spirit didn't sit right. My mama used to say when your gut talks you better listen, and my gut was screaming. But I pushed it down because who wants to believe their husband's sister would hurt them over a work contract? Andre stayed by my hospital bed all night, holding my hand, bringing me ginger ale and crackers. Imani sent flowers, big expensive arrangements that made my room smell like a funeral. The card read, "Get well soon, sis," in her perfect handwriting. I went back to work 5 days later, still weak but determined not to miss the Robertson kickoff meeting. That's when I started noticing things. Little things. How Andre's car was parked outside Imani's Hyde Park condo at odd hours. How they'd stop talking when I entered a room. How every family dinner at Big Mama's house ended with me feeling dizzy or nauseous, but only after I'd eaten from the dishes Imani prepared. Big Mama herself never got sick. Andre never got sick. Just me. I started keeping a journal on my phone, documenting every incident with dates and symptoms. April 8th, Easter dinner. Collard greens made me violently ill for 2 days. May 23rd, Imani's birthday brunch. The mimosas had a weird metallic taste, and I couldn't keep anything down for 36 hours. June 15th, Juneteenth cookout. The potato salad sent me to the ER again. The pattern was clear as day, but saying it out loud sounded crazy. Who poisons their own family? The breaking point came in late July when I overheard a phone conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. I'd stopped by Andre's office in River North to surprise him with lunch from Harold's Chicken, his favorite. His door was cracked open and I heard Imani's voice on speaker. "The Henderson pitch is in 3 weeks, she was saying, her voice tight with urgency. "If Shanice presents, they'll give her partner and I'll be stuck as senior associate forever. We need a more permanent solution, Andre. The tea and the food aren't working fast enough. She keeps bouncing back like some kind of cockroach." My blood ran cold. Andre's response was worse. I got something stronger from my boy at the pharmaceutical company. Medical grade. We'll use it at the next Sunday dinner. Just enough to keep her hospitalized through the pitch. Maybe longer. I backed away from that door so fast I almost dropped the chicken. My hands were shaking as I walked to my car, my mind spinning. This couldn't be real. My husband, the man I pledged my life to at Quinn Chapel with Big Mama crying in the front row, was plotting to poison me. For his sister. For a promotion. I sat in that parking lot for 45 minutes, watching people walk by on Michigan Avenue, everyone living their normal lives while mine was crumbling. My phone buzzed with a text from Andre asking where I was. I told him I got called into an emergency meeting and drove home. That night I started planning. I couldn't go to the police with just a overheard conversation and a pattern of mysterious illnesses. I needed evidence, real evidence that would stand up in court. So I became someone I never thought I'd be. I started spying on my own husband. I bought a second phone with cash, no contract, no connection to me. I installed recording apps on my regular phone and started documenting everything. Every conversation, every meal, every interaction with Imani and Andre. I played the role of the unsuspecting wife perfectly, smiling at family dinners while my new phone recorded from my purse. Code switching became my survival tool, not just between corporate and home, but between who I really was and who they thought I was. The evidence started piling up. Text messages between Andre and Imani about handling the Shanice problem. Photos of pharmaceutical sample bottles in Andre's desk drawer at home, each one labeled with dates and dosages in his handwriting. Recordings of their phone calls discussing which compounds would cause symptoms severe enough to hospitalize me, but not kill me outright. They were treating me like a science experiment, adjusting their formula based on my reactions. The most damning evidence came from Imani's own bragging. She'd gotten comfortable, sloppy. At a family cookout in August, I heard her telling her friend Keisha about how she was taking care of business, and how some people needed to learn their place. She didn't know I'd left my phone recording in the bathroom where they were touching up their makeup. By mid-September I had everything I needed, but I still didn't know what to do with it. Going to the police felt impossible. Who would believe a black woman accusing her pharmaceutical sales rep husband and his marketing executive sister of elaborate poisoning? We'd all seen how that story played out in the news. I needed something undeniable, something they couldn't explain away or use their charm and respectability to escape from. That's when Big Mama unknowingly gave me the answer. She called to tell me about the monthly family brunch she was hosting, said it was important we all be there because she had something to announce about the house. My stomach dropped. I knew this was it. This was when they'd make their final move. The Henderson pitch was 12 days away, and I was still standing, still working, still their biggest obstacle. I spent the week before that brunch preparing. I contacted Detective Mendoza through a friend who dealt with a domestic violence case. I explained everything, showed her my evidence, and asked what I needed to make this stick. She was skeptical at first. Sisterly rivalry and food poisoning weren't usually criminal conspiracy. But when I played her the recordings of Andre discussing pharmaceutical compounds and dosages, her whole demeanor changed. She told me what I needed was either a confession or to catch them in the act. I chose both. The morning of the brunch I wore my best outfit like I was going to war. A cream silk blouse, tailored black pants, my hair freshly pressed and laid. I put on Big Mama's cross necklace she'd given me when I married Andre, the one that was supposed to protect me from evil. I drove to that brownstone on the south side with Detective Mendoza's number on speed dial and 3 recording apps running on both phones. Big Mama's house smelled like coffee and cinnamon rolls when I walked in, gospel music playing low on the old radio. Imani was already there, looking polished in a designer dress, her makeup perfect, her smile sharp. Andre arrived 15 minutes later with coffee. He insisted he'd made special just for me at Imani's place. The smell hit me immediately, metallic, wrong, exactly like the tea that had sent me to the ER in May. I watched them watch me, waiting for me to drink. Big Mama was in the kitchen, oblivious, humming along to Kirk Franklin. This was the moment. Everything I'd suffered, every hospital visit, every client meeting I'd missed while doubled over in pain, it all came down to this coffee cup. I lifted it to my lips and saw the hope flash in Imani's eyes. Then I stumbled, deliberately clumsy, and switched our cups in the confusion. "I'm so sorry," I said, straightening up. "I'm such a klutz sometimes." Imani waved me off with that tight smile and I walked toward the bathroom, my heart pounding. Through the hallway mirror, I watched her lift my cup to her lips. "That wasn't supposed to be your cup." Andre's voice cracked, and this time I understood the full weight of that sentence. This time I knew about the 18 months of documented poisoning, the stolen pharmaceutical compounds, the conspiracy to destroy my career and possibly my life. Imani was convulsing on the floor and I had Detective Mendoza on speakerphone, recording every word, every confession, every moment of their panic. "You switched them," Imani gasped, her body still jerking. I looked down at this woman who'd welcomed me into her family only to spend 3 years trying to kill me, and something in me finally broke free from the fear I'd been carrying. "Child, you damn right I did," I said, my voice steady. Andre lunged toward me but I stepped back, keeping my phone between us like a shield. "It's all recorded, Andre. Every word. Every confession." Detective Mendoza heard everything. His face went from rage to terror in seconds. Imani tried to speak but another wave of tremors hit her. The ambulance sirens were already getting louder outside. I'd called them the moment she took that first sip. Big Mama emerged from the kitchen, her face confused and frightened, and I had to tell her everything right there while her son knelt beside her daughter, both of them finally understanding they'd lost. At Southside Community Hospital, while doctors pumped Imani's stomach and ran toxicology screens, I did something they never expected. I'd spent the previous week not just gathering evidence but building a case that would destroy them professionally before the criminal charges even hit. I'd contacted the pharmaceutical company where Andre's friend worked and reported the theft of controlled substances with time-stamped evidence of Andre's access. I'd sent anonymous tips to the Illinois State Board of Marketing about Imani's attempts to sabotage a competitor through illegal means, complete with her own recorded confessions. But my signature move was the email I'd scheduled to send to every major client in Chicago's marketing scene, including the CEO of Henderson Industries. It contained a detailed, professional summary of industrial espionage and corporate sabotage, explaining how Imani Carter had attempted to eliminate competition through criminal means. I never mentioned the poisoning, just the business side, the part they'd understand and care about. By the time Detective Mendoza arrested them both in that hospital corridor, Imani had already received notification that her professional license was under review and 3 of her biggest clients had terminated their contracts. Andre's pharmaceutical company fired him before he was even processed at Cook County Jail. The trial lasted 4 weeks. The prosecution presented my evidence like a masterclass in documentation, recordings, medical records, text messages, the stolen pharmaceutical compounds with Andre's fingerprints all over them. The jury looked at me with something like awe when they realized I'd survived 18 months of systematic poisoning, while gathering enough evidence to guarantee convictions. Imani got 11 years for attempted murder and conspiracy. Andre got 14 for procurement of controlled substances and the actual administration of the poison. I walked out of that courthouse into a Chicago autumn afternoon, the wind off the lake cold and clean, and drove straight to Henderson Industries for my presentation. I got the partnership. 6 months later, I stood in Big Mama's kitchen making Sunday dinner just for the 2 of us. Greens with smoked turkey, cornbread from scratch, baked mac and cheese that would make the ancestors proud. Big Mama sat at that same dining table where everything had fallen apart, but the poison was gone now, literally and figuratively. She squeezed my hand and said something I'll never forget. "Baby, you survived because you never stopped trusting yourself, even when everybody else seemed more trustworthy." I thought about that while washing dishes in her kitchen, gospel music playing low, the smell of Fabuloso and love in the air. Success isn't just about climbing the corporate ladder or winning contracts. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that no amount of jealousy, betrayal, or literal poison can diminish it. I'd started in Englewood with nothing but ambition and Big Mama's prayers. I'd survived 3 years of systematic poisoning by my own family. And I'd come out the other side stronger, sharper, and finally free. The scar tissue around my heart would always be there, a reminder of what I'd endured. But scar tissue is stronger than regular skin, and I was done being anyone's victim. If this story touched you in any way, if it made you think twice or feel something deep, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Let me know you out there. Your comment might be exactly what someone else scrolling needs to see today. Might remind them they're not alone in whatever they're going through. Because that's what we do, we share our stories so somebody else can survive theirs, so the next person knows they can make it through too. So keep your circle tight, trust your instincts, and remember that every choice you make matters more than you think. You feel me?